guys, welcome back to Dubster Dive, the series where we take a look at something's English dub and let you know how it all lines up. I'm your host Elvis X, and with localization being a pretty hot topic right now, I figured we would take a look at something that was localized into the ground and has all the trappings you would expect. Oh yes, we're reaching deep into the Funimation septic tank for this one, and it has all of your trappings. Jamie Marchi as a lead character? Check. Heavily involved with everything? Check. Terms like SJW and political references to Trump? Check. Calling fans misogynists? Check. You get the idea. It's full of these. And what anime is that? My First Girlfriend is a Gal. But before we could get to the fun stuff with the script, we gotta set up what all this is about. So My First Girlfriend is a Gal, or Hajimete no Gal, is a manga series written by Megure Yuno, which began in 2015 and is still ongoing to this day. An anime was produced by Studio NAZ, or NAZ, the people behind Goodnight World and Blood Lad, which would air in July of 2017, with 10 episodes and 1 OVA. Surprisingly, the OVA is dubbed this time by Funimation, which they rarely ever do. My guess is it's because they were allowed to get creative with the script, shall we say. So what is this show about? Well, it's your typical rom-com, harem, ecchi, high school thing. We follow high schooler and loser Junichi, who just wants to get a hot girlfriend so he could get laid. That's his whole thing. Well, his three friends one day end up roping him into asking out one of the hottest chicks in class, Yukana. The typical Valley Girl bimbo type. The one who goes, oh my god, like, totally. And yes, she does talk like that. Not even the worst part of this localization. Again, I didn't mind this with how many times gals, I guess you could say like this, have been in anime. Take with that what you will, though. Anyway, she ends up finding him cute and says yes to date him. But again, this is a harem, so we're not alone here. We have other chicks that are interested in him, such as his childhood friend, Nene, a shorty with massive titties. The serious class member, Yui, who's very mature and elegant, but moonlights as a cam girl who likes calling her simps doggies, and cracking the whip, as it were. And we have Yukana's, I almost said gay lesbian friend. That sounds redundant. But yes, lesbian best friend, Ranko, who wants to break up Junichi and Yukana so she could have Yukana all for herself. The series deals with themes of not judging a book by its cover. For example, Yukana presents herself as a Valley Girl, but really, deep down, just wants to have a good man who will treat her right, etc. Moving on from that, though, the animation is, from what I've heard, pretty average. Some characters can look off-model. Nene's titty sizes, for example, can be a bit inconsistent. And moving on from that, we've got the soundtrack, which is also very average. Characters each have their own unique themes, but fuck if I'm going to remember any of them off the top of my head. I don't know. They did their job for what they were, and that's really it. But on to the reason you're all here and the title of this show's namesake, Dubster Dive. So Funimation would end up simuldubbing this series, and let's just get into it. So the ADR director is Dave Trosco, the dude who did the dubs for Seven Mortal Sins and Anime Guitaris, with assistant ADR director being Brad Smeaton, who's a massive asshole because he's also cast in the show. The scriptwriters would be Alex Muniz and Joel Bergen, and everyone who voiced in the show, because the majority of this dub was improv. We will get to that. First, I'd like to get through the cast, though, before we get to the script. That'll get its own section. So first, we have our main man, Junichi, voiced by Alejandro Flaccid Pancake himself, Saab, Sino from Genshin Impact, Gabimaru from Hell's Paradise, or Einar from Netflix dub of Vinland Saga. He's also known as Kagi Films, if you'd prefer that name for him. But, yeah, Junichi's a fun protag. He's got a council of voices in his head, as I like to call them. Like Katarina from My Next Life as a Villainess. You know, he's got the cool suave voice where he talks like this. And then he's got a goblin voice that's horny all the time named Libido. Yeah, Libido was actually the hardest voice for him to do, he admits. But having to play off yourself with like 5 different voices, I could see he had a lot of fun with this role, and I think it's one of his best performances personally. Dave would admit he casted Alejandro because of his voice versatility. And yeah, it's one of the times Alejandro's really trying and having fun. The only voice not voiced by him is the Super Saiyan cool one, which is voiced by Chris Sabat doing his Vegeta voice. References! And, yeah, that's all I got to say on that. Next we have Yukana, a leading lady, voiced by Jamie Marchi. Lukua from Dragon Maid, I'm sure all of you know that by this point. Rias from High School DxD, and Kana from Fairy Tail. And I already told you all, she's got the Valley Girl thing going on. So it's, oh my god, you're like my bae, man. Which, yeah. Jamie would say that she enjoyed playing this type of character as the lead, because they're rarely ever the lead, you know, the Valley Girl types. But she also liked when the character dropped the facade and was serious with Junichi near the end of the series. And if you want my opinion on her performance, much like most of her work, I think it's shit. Yeah, I make no secret. Even before the Vic shit from 2019, I've never been a fan of her work. I thought her voice performances always were average at best and subpar at worst. This is no different. So, if you disagree with me, cool, let me know. But yeah, moving on from her, we have... Oh, there's a moment, by the way, where Jamie Marchi fucks up saying summer break and says summer break, E-E-K. So, that's not even on the script, that's just her fucking up. Moving on from her, though, we have Nene, the childhood friend, the Opie Lolly, as I call her. Voiced by Brittany Latta, who's Rico from Made in Abyss and Ichigo from Darling in the Franxx. And, again, she's doing her Moe-esque lolly voice for this character. There is a moment, though, where she has to imitate Yukana to try impressing Junichi with her gal speak, as she calls it. And I think she does a better job sounding like Yukana than Jamie does. I'm serious. She fits the gal type better, in my opinion. There's also a moment where she's reading light novels and gives all the characters different voices, showing off her vocal range. So, yeah, Brittany Latta, I think, did good. I do think it's funny Junichi keeps saying that he's not into her because she looks like a little girl. Do you not see the massive melons? He would definitely hate the protag of My Tiny Senpai. You bastard, Junichi. Moving on from her, though, we have Ronko, who I already said what her whole thing was earlier. Voiced by Morgan LeRae Garrett, Nadeshiko from Yura Camp, or Laid Back Camp, and Aki Aragaki from Asumine's Revenge, which is the voice she's doing for Ronko. Ronko's very similar, actually. She's kind of a cunt. By that I mean she constantly virgin shames the named character, even nicknaming him Virgin. It kind of gets old after a while. And, yeah. I mean, she at least has another side to her, though, where she just wants what's best for Yukana. Oh, sure, she still plans to break her and Junichi up, but if she sees Junichi and her having a moment, she'll be like, she'll wait till the perfect moment to fuck it up. Or if Junichi and her have a spat, she'll yell at Junichi to fix it, because she does try to at least look out for Yukana. Moving on from her, though, we have Yui, Best Girl, voiced by Allison Victorin, Shota from Dragon Maid Season 1, and Kuroko from the Toaru is Certain franchise. And, yeah, I think Allison Victorin did a really good job here. She even said that she loved the opportunity to voice someone that wasn't a lolly or a Shota for once, because that's primarily what she plays 90% of the time. She also said she loved having to do two personas, Yui's night job, shall we say, and her mature exterior that she puts on her front. And even though I think she has some of the worst lines in the script, I don't have a problem with her performance. Oh, yeah. After her, we have Junichi's three friends. Shinpei, Junichi's best friend, voiced by Brad Smeaton, Akira from King's Game, and Matsumi from All Out. So, Brad Smeaton's at least having a lot of fun here. He likes to do impressions, like he does a Yoda impression at one point. We'll get to all the rest of that shit in the script. But you can at least tell he's enjoying himself. Dave would admit he casted Brad because he knew Brad since high school and viewed Shinpei as a self-insert for Brad from back then. Does that count as nepotism? You guys decide, let me know. But at least he's having fun. After him, we have Keigo, the other best friend, who you could probably write out of the show and not much would change in my opinion. Voiced by Jacob Browning, who's Takia from Cheer Boys, and Jabberwock from Infinite Dendrogram. And needless to say, I mean, Dita's okay, I guess, but Keiko doesn't leave much of an impression. Other than the pussy rap. Oh yeah, all the singing in this is dubbed, I should mention that. You get to hear Alejandro sing, Jamie Marchi do a whale mating call, and Jacob do the pussy rap. It's 30 seconds of him rapping about pounding chicks. An excerpt from it is, I grab it, I poke it, oops, I broke it. And it's really dumb, but it cracked me up. I was laughing at it, I won't lie. I thought it was hilarious, at least. But, time for the last one, Minaru. So, Minaru is a lolicon, which, fun. I've left with a few lollies in my day. Rebecca from Cyberpunk, just to name one. But, in the dub, they call him a pedo, and openly admit they turned him all the way up to 11. Some of his comments being, he wants to receive a love letter in crayon. No, maybe he's a mark for Shin-chan, and he'd be happy about that and appreciate it. Oh, he also said he wants a girl that still wets the bed. Okay, never mind. Someone please let me know how much worse this is in the dub. I heard in the manga he's not even close to being like this, but you guys let me know. What's interesting is he has two different voice actors. In the simul dub, for Eps 1 through 4, he's Chris George, the narrator from Black Clover, and Glaive Magna from How Rio's Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. But in Eps 5 onward, and on the Blu-ray version where they went back and redubbed the first few Eps, he's voiced by Cecil Winters? Who the fuck is that? Okay, it's an alias, I'm not even gonna front. And I'm pretty sure I could hazard a guess at who it is. If I had to guess, I think it's Damon Mills. Askin from Bleach, and Frieza from DBFZ. And Sparking Zero if they don't use a Chris Ayres AI. And yeah. If you're going to ask who I think is better as this character, Cecil Winters, I guess, fits better, but that's like saying a Nazi would portray Hitler better in a World War II documentary. So, think of that as you may. I should mention there's also a moment where Minaru sees a lolly get hurt and he turns into the literal Hulk. It's so stupid, but yeah, they do the voice and everything with the filter. As far as why Chris George stepped down from the role, I don't know. All I could find were a couple of theories that he might have been uncomfortable with the role itself. But, yeah. Only a couple people left. Next, we have Dai. No, not our Dai, a different Dai. The closest thing to an antag you can get in this show. Because he's Yukana's childhood friend, or he knew her in middle school, and he wants to cuck Junichi. Yeah, he literally says that. Voiced by J. Michael Tatum, Sebastian from Black Butler, and Lawrence from Spice and Wolf. And I don't know what you all want from me. He's voicing a dick. So he's having fun, I guess. The last ones to go over are the preview duo, as I call them. They're just two chicks that do the previews and are in a couple of scenes here and there. They're not really relevant, but fuck it, might as well throw them in here. First we have Ayumi, voiced by Kristen Sutton, who's Shigure from Azure Lane and Carol from Baccano, and Kokoro, voiced by Annabelle Thorne, whose only other voice credit I could find was Mammon from Seven Mortal Sins. And they do fine, I guess. An example of the preview would be them wanting more screen time, and Ronco in the preview suggesting they just sleep with the scriptwriter or director. Some of you might think this is a social commentary on Hollywood and the industry with, you know, the Weinstein situation. I almost said Epstein. I mean, their names are similar, and they're both cunts, to put it lightly, but anyway. I like to think in my headcanon that it's actually a commentary on the dub industry with what we know about the casting couch and everything. But you guys decide. Again, they do fine for what little screen time they have, I guess. As far as double casting, J. Michael Tatum is also the head of the cafe they work at in Ep 7. We will get to that. And Brittany Karbowski voices numerous people, if you can call her out. Few wrap-up things about the dub. The Blu-ray version is uncensored, whereas the simul-dub does bleep out the swearing. And I think for a comedy, bleeps can work, if done right. Like, when Junichi says, "Who the fuck are those guys?" They bleep it out, it sounds funnier to me. But it's uncut in the Blu-ray or whatever. There's also a moment where Junichi screams in his inner monologue, like, "Ah!" But that is, that's also dub only. Apparently it's silence in the sub. Was the sub trying to go to let a mood set in? I don't know. So, that could be something they might have fucked with. You all let me know. Now, that's it for the dub itself. Again, the voice acting, for the most part, is okay. Everyone is having fun, and all that shit. I mean, hey, Jamie Marchi said that her voice was inspired by Clueless from the 90s. Yay! But let's get to the real reason I wanted to make this video. The script. Oh my god, where do I even begin? Okay, so they would actually confirm that the script was written by using terms and inspiration from Urban Dictionary. So you already know what kind of script we're working with. Dave Trosko would also admit that a lot of the script, they probably went a little too far and even got in trouble for some of their lines. I'm sure we can hazard a guess at which ones when we get in here. The other thing he mentioned is that when they were translating the scripts, they received 55 pages worth and would have to cut that shit down because they would receive numerous translations for one line, a lot of which weren't even in the Japanese version. No shit. Well, which ones were they? Okay, so let's get in here and go over ones I did like and ones I didn't and see how it all lines up at the end. I already mentioned Shinpei's whole thing of impersonations, such as with Yoda. There's a scene where Junichi asks him, "Teach me your ways, sensei." And Shinpei goes, "Teach you I shall." There's also a moment where he calls him young Padawan. And a moment where Junichi gets his phone stolen by Shinpei, and he's angry at him, and Shinpei goes, "Let your anger feed you," imitating Palpatine. I don't mind the Star Wars references in particular, simply because, well, it's Star Wars. Star Wars is universally popular. Everyone knows it. Well, it was universally popular. You know what I mean? No, what I do have a problem with is his other imitation. There's a moment where he's working at a manga store for his summer job, and the owner steps out for a bit, saying he's leaving Shinpei in charge. Shinpei looks at the other workers and says, "Okay, people, we can double, no triple our store sales. We're so terrifically good, people. You know it, I know it. We can make this manga store great again." He says the actual name of the manga store, but fuck if I'm going to try pronouncing that. As a dude would then say, "This speech sounds familiar." And my one question after this is, why? Why was this fucking necessary? I'm not even being funny. I genuinely want to know. This is immersion breaking, in my opinion. Let's see. There's also a moment where he imitates a southern dude when Dai's about to hit a woman, and he goes, "We don't want to buy hitting girls around here, or hitting women around here." And he also makes a comment saying that karaoke is better than arguing with people on Reddit. Were they talking about fans who were mad about all these changes? I might be reaching with that one. Y'all can let me know. But it's not just main characters that get this. Even the ad voices suffer from this shit. You hear people say, "Crave that D." A woman, a cam girl, random chick says, "You want to know my bra size? Double D's nuts!" So, yeah. Why don't we get to Junichi next, then? So there's a scene where he's about to ask Yukana if he can go to her house. She's like, "Sure." And he says, "Can I bring my friends along?" And you hear, or my friends along. Sorry, not alone. Wanted to talk. And a couple in the background go, "Did that guy just Charlie Bravo himself?" I didn't even know what the fuck that meant in the terminology of this, or context of this. I had to look that up. And the other guy goes, "Try cock block." Okay, that cracked me up. It's fine. At the party, though, Shinpei and Keiko show up in costumes. And Junichi says to Shinpei, "It's amazing you weren't stopped on the way here and asked to take the red pill." That's a Matrix reference. That's all right. Speaking of red pill, I got something else for Shinpei in a second, but let me finish this first. He then looks at Keigo and says, "And you look like you're about to go on the Jersey Shore." You killed it. I'm sorry, man, you lost me there. As Keigo would end the conversation by saying, "They call this peacocking, brah." Okay. Well, speaking of Shinpei, last thing I forgot to cover with him real quick before we move on. There's a moment where he wants to go peek on chicks in the hot spring, and Junichi says, "What are you doing?" And Shinpei would reply, "Allow me to red pill ya. If you don't peek on chicks, you're insulting their body by basically saying she's not worth looking at." Yeah, these terms totally aren't westernized. Whatever. Let's move on from them, though. Back to Junichi for a second. Is anyone else confused at the end when he's basically saying he hates himself because he only asked out Yukana in the beginning because he found her physically attractive? Am I the retard here? No, I'm serious. Like, isn't that normal? You know, you see a chick, think she's cute, or a chick sees a guy and is like, hey, he's kind of hot. Then you start up a conversation and see where it goes. Isn't that normal? I don't know. Someone let me know. But, moving on from him, let's go to Ronco real quick. We have Ronco calling Nene's boobs the bomb.com, which that's dated as fucked. Does anyone even say that anymore? Also, she calls Yui a ratchet-ass bitch. Oh yes, the term ratchet. Alright. So that's Ronco done. I'm trying to avoid the last one. I don't want to do Yui right now. Woof. Fortunately, we still have one more to go over. Die! So when Junichi confronts him about what he wants to do with Yukana, you know, tap that and then get out of Dodge, he says, please, slunts, not sluts, slunts, because J. Michael Tatum fucked up too, like Yukana need lots of vitamin D. Take your TED Talk somewhere else, before he calls Junichi a white knight. Okay. This stub is going to make me sigh until I'm dead in the face. But it's time to move on to Yui. No more putting it off. So, first to set the stage, I would like to point out that there's a scene in the hot springs when Ronco is groping Yukana, and Yui says to herself, "I find this problematic." You might say, what's the big idea with that? I am 100% certain that that is a social commentary on how the staff who worked on this show look at anime fan service. Be it the voice actors, the scriptwriters, whoever the fuck came up with this. And you want to know my proof? Literally the episode before this, episode 7, the cafe scene. Okay, let's get this out of the way. So in the cafe scene, when they're working at the summer jobs, all the waifus are working as maids or whatever. Junichi's there too. Not as a maid, whatever. Point is, they're working there for the summer jobs. Final day is book day, where they have to read books to the customers. The light novels that they're looking at in the back are Covenant of Sister New Goddess, parody of Testament of Sister New Devil, Junior High School DxD, that one should be pretty obvious, and Hybrid X Heart. Okay, fuck you! One, you didn't even change that one, and two, piss off for, like, teasing us with this shit and then not giving us the dub. Did a whole video on that shit. Anyway, Yui would read a passage from this, or one of these novels, and say, "What is this sick misogynistic crap?" before saying that she can't read this, it's degrading, and rushes out to report the boss. Sick misogynistic crap that, I mind you, Funimation at the time had the rights to. Testament, High School DxD, I mean, Crunchyroll owns them now, basically the same thing. But if you look at it, they're basically saying if you enjoy this content, you're a misogynist. You're sick. So, take with that what you will. Moving on from that, the boss and Junichi would have a confrontation, where Junichi says, "You can't make high school girls read this." The boss says, "They're just light novels," as Junichi would reply, "but they're heavy on the creepy sex stuff." The boss would retort, "Of course they are. Where's the fun in forcing these jailbait chicks to read something decent? Plus, most of the freaks who come in here hate women, so seeing girls degraded gives them boners and makes them happy." Junichi would reply, "Well, think about how these girls feel for once. Maybe they don't want to be debased just so you can sell a few more shit chicken wings to horny losers with mommy issues. The boss would then call Junichi a dickless cuck before Yui brings back in the phone with the store owner on it. Putting him on, he hangs up and says, "Book day's been cancelled. Another win for you SJW millennials." As Ranko turns to Yui and says, hashtag boss bitch. Oh yeah, I didn't even bring that up. They say hashtag insert term here a lot too. Anyway, I think you all can see there's a lot to unpack with this scene. Particularly, though, I want to focus on SJW Millennial. Notice it's the bad guy calling the good guys this in this situation. Trust me, that was done on purpose. There's no doubt of that. Because basically what they're saying is, oh, well, the bad guys are the ones who like fan service. The SJWs, though, is what they're going to call us for standing up to this prick or whatever. Also, more to the point, it's immersion breaking as fuck. I didn't even bring up the fact that Yui says stop eye raping me in the OVA. I don't care if it's her trying to portray, you know, a maid that's, I guess you could say, trying to be a dominatrix or a violent tsundere or whatever the fuck. I'm just so tired of this shit. Also, I can't eye rape you, bitch, I'm blind! How would it work saying that to a blind person? I don't know. Anyway. I could keep going, but you get the idea. This script is all over the place with this. But why was it like this? Well, the commentaries might give us a little window into that, which... let's go over them real quick, shall we? So on the first one, you've got Jamie Marchi, of course, Alejandro, Dave Trosco, and Alison Victorin. Dave would already mention all the things I said before, like Urban Dictionary, where they use terms like flesh musket and left-handed banjo. Oh yeah, I didn't even bring that up. Okay, this one will at least send us with something a little funny. So when Junichi's talking to Shinpei about the being cucked, Shinpei's like, "Watch out for Dai's left-handed banjo." You mean his penis? Yes, his penis is very large. It's dumb, but again, it cracked me up. So Dave would think that they went a little far with these changes, as Jamie Marchi would reply, all the changes were the right choice to make. Yeah, of course you'd say that. She also claims Japan aren't as consistently funny as us because they wait 5 minutes or so to get to the punchline, which doesn't work for us, because we have shorter attention spans. That's why the show never sits still and has constant joke after joke after joke after joke. I think humor is subjective. Personally, I don't mind a joke that takes a little bit to get to the punchline as long as it lands. But that's just me. Jamie would also go on to say, if you're offended by anything in this show, then go watch Big Mouth. And yeah, this is where they would confirm the majority of the script was improv. And the script writers would watch the dub episodes, learn from the improv, and insert references to the improv lines later in the show. An example being the Yoda impression. Yeah, when they saw the first Yoda impression, which was improv in like Ep 2 or 3, they would then like put in the script, do Yoda impression here in like Ep 9 or 10 or whatever. So, again, scriptwriters seem fucking pointless. Also, Allison and Jamie would say how nice it was working with Dave because he wasn't a micromanager director, he was more free. There's a double-edged sword there. If you have a director that's too flexible, you get situations like this, I feel, where yes, the voice actors are having fun, but the dub is more parody than official. And then if you get ones that are micromanaged, you get the idea. You could get a dub that's really stilted and lifeless. Anyway, commentary 2 is Dave, Trosco, Alejandro, and Brad Smeaton. And I already went over the majority of the shit with this. Oh, the last thing I should mention to cover all my bases, there was a cafe owner in like Ep 4, voiced by Chris Wakehamp, Eraserhead from My Hero Academia. They mentioned they had 3 different takes for the character. 1 where he was a French dude, Mossara, etc. 2 where he was flamboyant, like, "Hello guys, how you doing?" And 3 is the guy we got now, who's a bitter dude who, "I hate my life," etc. I figured I'd throw that in there to cover all the bases, etc. What's funny is in this commentary is when Dave would say that the translation isn't lost, or it's not lost to translation, the theme of the show, not judging a book by its cover. Maybe, but by the end of it, you're not even going to be caring about the theme because of the immersion breaking, etc. This is where he would also confirm about the Minaru situation, that they turned all the jokes up to 11, and that, unlike Japan, they called him out for it. So, they improved it, their words. Also, it's funny that they claim that they don't condone the actions them at Funimation. Didn't you guys hire Scott Freeman and Chris Thurman? And you all still employ Damon Mills to this day. In fact, I'm pretty sure he voices Minaru, which makes this statement really... You get the idea. Anyway, that's it. I think you all get the idea. Now, to be honest, if this were, again, a parody or an extras on the Blu-ray, where the voice actor was like, hey, we're doing these outtakes, we're shooting the shit, like on the Berserk sets, you know, where they're just having fun, then I wouldn't care, you know? Do whatever you want. They're a side shit, that no one's gonna mind this. But this is part of the official dub. How long before this shit gets into My Hero Academia or Dragon Ball or something? Hell, it might have even already done that and I just didn't notice. But yeah. MVP of the dub, I don't know, I guess Alejandro. He had fun doing all the voices. But that's if I had to pick one. This would have been just an average harem, like I said, but the script really got in the way for a lot of it. Some jokes land, a lot didn't. I would have preferred this to be faithful, and have this stuff be, you know, outtakes or something personally. And before someone brings up ghost stories, what makes that situation different is the Japanese creators approved of what ADV Films did. They told them, go crazy with it, do whatever you want with the show, we don't care. With Hajimete no Gal, or My First Girlfriend is a Gal, I doubt the Jap studio even knew what was going on. Which is the good news that the spotlight's finally coming down on these pricks. And yeah, fuck you, Jamie Marchi. For, like, everything, obviously. Look, I wanted to come in here, and when I was watching the show, I was like, oh, I'm going to be so pissed and angry and rage at the Dubster dive, but at this point, I'm just tired. Not even angry anymore. Like, I'm just so sick of this at this point, you know? Like, obviously I'm frustrated, but I'm tired of it in games, manga, anime. Hence why I said, bring on the AI. Let the robots come! I've said that a couple of times before. I'm saying it again, man. Now, that's Hajimete no Gal. First Girlfriend is a Gal. Whatever the hell I'm going to call it. I don't know. Let me know if you agree or disagree with anything I said. And if so, let me know why. As far as best girl, I already said it's Yui. Let me know who you all think it is. Oh, Yui. You would have been so much hotter if you weren't metaphorically raped by the dub script. Thanks for that, Funimation. Piece of shit. But thank you again, guys, so much for watching. I hope you have yourselves a nice day. And until next time. Till then.